Ravi Bhatia, President of JATO Dynamics, on the show with us this evening. Gaurav Vangaal of IHS Markit talking with us. Pankaj Mohindroo, Chairman of the India Cellular and Electronics Association, on the show, as is Nilesh Gupta, MD of Vijay Sales. Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for speaking with us today on the India Development Debate. Gaurav Vangaal, why don't you begin by setting the context for us of how badly the shortage of semiconductors is now beginning to pinch. We've been hearing about it for about 8 to 10 odd months in the Indian context, but now it's coming down to actual production cuts, isn't it?
Exactly. So, with the start of this quarter, which is a July to September quarter, IHS Markit announced that this will be the worst quarter for Indian market, and I think we are going through the same phase right now. In a global term, if I have to explain, this quarter is taking away 1.6 million units of cars from us. These cars are not going to produce in India. It is going to impact approximately 18 to 20%. What so far we have recorded. So far for this quarter, I think we are going to lose 18 to 20% volumes. It can extend to 30%, what we are looking at, because this problem is spreading like anything right now. The Malaysia impact is impacting us, and from the Maruti Suzuki to Renault Nissan to Ford and to Mahindra, Tata, everybody is struggling right now. We are going to hear some more cuts in coming days or coming weeks. Maybe for the September again, it is going to pinch us. Further numbers are going to cut down from the production side.
Yeah, Ravi Bhatia, in real terms, this is translating into longer wait times for vehicles. Maybe some car makers, OEMs, will prioritize certain, models over others. But effectively, how will it really impact the industry and consumer demand?
The overall impact of this crisis is pretty severe. And what we are now beginning to learn is that it's not just the chips, but also the disruption of rest of the supply chain, which is beginning to hurt the automobile industry. So in Indian market, we have already seen wait times for high demand models, which have high features and therefore the high deployment of sensors growing up to 6 weeks or 8 weeks. But that is only the tip of the iceberg. All indications are that this problem is going to last for 12 to 18 months. And the automobile industry globally will lose production by about 4.8% and lose a revenue of about 100 billion. This is very, very severe problem. Automobile suppliers are really struggling to fulfill the market demand, which has certainly come up because of the relaxation of COVID situation. So we believe that it will be wait and watch situation for consumers. At least up to Diwali, we do not see any relief in terms of this situation.
No, in fact, if you're saying for another 18 to 20 months, then, those wanting to book vehicles this Diwali are definitely going to have a long wait time. But this is not just an auto industry story. We want to attempt to understand how far and wide the impact will be seen. So, Pankaj Mohindroo, so far, what has been said is that, companies making phones, other kind of electronic devices, consumer durables that require semiconductors have not suffered too much because they stockpiled enough and they were being prioritized in the whole chain so far. Is that also beginning to change now, especially in the Indian context?
Tamanna, it was not possible to stockpile in the last 15 or 18 months because there was a shutdown in April and May last year. And so whatever was the inventory got it completely. And there was also, I heard the voiceover, I think very appropriate voiceover, that the industry was expecting a massive scaling down of capacities and also demand because of the pandemic and the shutdown and lockdowns, etc. But what happened was to the reverse. And by the time it was realized, you see the demand was overshooting. So we have not really had lockdowns, or we've not had situations where, there's been production cuts, etc. But it's been on the razor's edge as far as the industry is concerned, that the stock levels, raw material stock levels, component stock levels are at all-time lows. The larger companies, you see, this industry has majorly consolidated over the last 5 years. The number of players in mobile phones and IT hardware have shrunk dramatically. So there are just 5 or 6 large companies globally who are accounting for more than 95% of volumes. So those companies are reasonably well serviced. The players who are smaller players and some of the Indian companies are suffering because of supply constraints. So the consumer at this moment till now has not really got impacted. The stocks are at an all-time low since the last more than 12 months in the trade and with the brands. That is the situation as of now. But if you take a larger picture, that what should the nation do over the next say half a decade, I think we are no spring chickens now in as far as
We'll come to that. We'll come to that, sir. No, we'll come to that. We'll come to the larger picture. Let me just first, set the stage of where we are. Let's go step by step so that our viewers can also follow this very important story, which is a global as well as a story which will hit home eventually. Nilesh Gupta, is this going to hit home as we go into the festive season, a big season for all electronic items, consumer durables? Are we beginning to see that pinch on supplies, or are certain models beginning to go low on supply?
So, good evening, Tamanna. Basically, in the last 2-3 months only, we have started feeling the pinch. But because being multi-brand and so many brands are available in the consumer durable space, in the mobile space, so what is happening even in the laptop space? So what is happening is the consumer is not able to get a choice of the brand at times, because that may go out of supply and he has to buy something else which is a similar brand. So we have been seeing the shortage continuously. It's the only thing is the category is not gone off the shelves. But yes, sometimes brand A is not available, sometimes brand B is not available. But most important, what we have seen is in the last 6 months, the prices have shot up considerably. And that's not only because of the shortage of the chips, but even the other raw material costs going up. And in spite of that, the market has been quite robust, the demand has been robust. So and already the brands have been telling us, okay, this, whatever we are supplying you, please try to stock it up, because Diwali time, we don't know what may happen. So there is a worry around the corner of from the festival,
Wow.
from supply perspective.
So just give us a little more detail, Nilesh. When you're saying prices have gone up in the last 6 months, by how much do you see them going up? Much more? And what are the categories that are running low? Is it laptops, smartphones? Some people are reporting even your games, your consoles are not as available as before. So what are you seeing on the ground?
So consoles, as far as consoles are concerned, they come in very much bits and pieces, and whatever comes, I think gets sold off in an hour's time. So console is a very different story altogether, and that's all attributed to the chip shortage. But on the laptop side also, we have seen a price rise of nearly 12 to 16% in the last 6 months. On the mobile side, we have seen a price rise of 7 to 10%. On televisions, we have seen a price rise of, first time, I think in the last 10 years, we have seen a price rise of approximately 10 to 12% again. So across the table, the price has gone up. But the good part is the demand has not slowed down. Like in laptops, after the first lockdown, in fact, laptop was a category which was not growing at all before the COVID. After the first lockdown, the laptops grew tremendously. And even in spite of that, in spite of a last year high growth, high numbers, high base, this year again, we are seeing a growth of nearly 60-70% in laptops, in spite of the prices going up.
No, I mean, Yeah, till kids don't start going back to school. I'm assuming most of the demand is coming in from the education sector as well, and work from home, which has suddenly,
Exactly.
become dominant in so many places. Gaurav, give us a sense of the timeline. How far along is the impact? Earlier, Mr. Bhatia said we'll see this for 18 to 20 months. If you look at what global automakers and experts are saying, they're saying this could go on till, even up till 2023 possibly. So how is the world then going to cope? Are we just going to see more and more expensive and less available automobiles?
Yes, as far as timeline is concerned, I think quarter three, quarter four is going to be concerned with the Malaysia impact, increase in the Malaysia COVID numbers. After that, I think we are going to face tightened supply chain in quarter one of 2022 and quarter two of 2022. So what we are expecting right now as a IHS market that from second half 2022. We will start recovering some of the lost volume what we are going to lose for the next 4 quarters. So this is what as a timeline is concerned for our side. The visibility. Let me give you a very important point. Currently, the situation is so dynamic at the car maker side that visibility is so low. This is highly uncertain. We don't know, or the car makers even cannot see that what is happening in the next month or the next fortnight, right? Earlier, we have a firm schedules of 3 months at least, right? Today, the visibility is so low about the chip availability that it can any day, anytime they announce that we are going to cut the production, we are not able to produce the volumes, and this is definitely going to impact the demand on the supply side, right? So my point is that this waiting periods for cars are going to get longer, and I have come across the facts that some of the car OEMs dealers are not taking these specific models bookings right now. So because they have already started experiencing a problem here, so they have stopped taking the bookings of the one of the popular models in the country.
Oh, okay. Ravi Bhatia, do you see this impacting prices further? Because on one hand, there's a chip shortage. On the other hand, anyway, materials are getting more expensive. Input costs have increased.
We have seen two things clearly happening in the market. One is the incentives have gone down and the prices have started increasing. A combination of these two things is really hurting the supply. So OEMs have started withdrawing incentives from the market on popular and non-popular models both, because the demand then shifts to the easily available models. And we have seen unprecedented price rise. So, but this is not a sustainable thing. You know, if your production is hit by 20%, 30%, even price increases cannot compensate. So this will have a bottom line impact for the car industry. It will have a bottom line impact for the dealers. Both these categories will suffer. Situation is pretty dire. Because what really happened was, I'm quoting of a statement from Intel chairman, who said that we are very keen to support automotive industry, but all our capacities are full. So despite their wanting to support an industry which was consuming 8% of the chips, total chip production, they are now unable to help them. And he said the situation will continue like this till first quarter of 2023, which is the statement from one of the chip manufacturers, which is a large player in the industry.
Mr. Mohindroo, we were speaking earlier about now what do we do? So around the world, some countries have started trying to shore up as manufacturers of semiconductors. The US has put aside a budget for it. The European Union is planning to ramp up its production, as are other nations in the world. What is the situation in India right now with production of semiconductors, and what do you think we should do?
No, we are at ground zero at the moment as far as semiconductors are concerned. but we are no spring chickens anymore in electronic manufacturing, which is a precursor to manufacturing of semiconductors. This year, we'll produce more than 330 million mobile phones, for example, which is one of the primary consumers of chipsets. We are on the way to becoming a large IT hardware manufacturer, laptops, desktops, servers, etc. And also color television. Almost our entire domestic demand is now met by domestic production. So we are becoming a large electronic manufacturer, and we are at about $70 billion of electronic manufacturing now. A lot of it is mobile phone manufacturing, of course. And we are heading towards 400 billion. Now that gives big scale. We are attempting to produce almost 1 billion mobile phones by 2025. So these are very strong tailwinds for setting up capacities for, if not foundries, at least for ATMP. But so ATMP, which is the packing of the chips, should start happening very, very quickly. Very quickly in semiconductor space means about, say, within 2 to 3 years. Foundries, both display and other foundries, we need a very determined and very focused approach on Atmanirbharta as far as semiconductors is concerned. I think that consensus is forming now. People are getting interested. There is a expression of interest out, and I'm very confident as we put all our weight behind mobile phone manufacturing about 5-6 years back, and you see the results. I think the whole nation is come behind semiconductor manufacturing, and we'll have a few foundries between 2025 and 2027 in the country. I mean, it may not be.
No. So by when can we make our own chips? How long does it take? But when you say 2025 to 2027, this is at the foundry stage. When can we make our own chips? Because clearly the demand's not going to reduce.
The important thing is that the engine of growth, which is the CBU manufacturing, that we have to become a very large CBU manufacturer. And that trajectory should not get affected. So, as I said, 1 billion phones, $400 billion of electronic manufacturing will automatically buzz. And it's already happening. Then the determined policy making and making sure that the investing companies are well supported. There is a concentrated move by to come back in its glory days of being a very large player in semiconductors, and that is a very determined effort. And China is also trying very hard to become a major semiconductor manufacturer. They have not succeeded so far, but they are making very determined efforts. So we should also move in. And I'm very confident that it's looking very good. Environment is looking very good, and policymakers are very determined to make this happen.
No, that's great. But as of today, you've said we're at ground zero. So the facts of the matter right now stand that we still need to start on this, and there is going to be a gestation time before we can get there. In the interim, the demand doesn't seem to be like it is going to decrease as there is more and more automation. Our entire EV plan might actually be, hitting a speed bump and derailed if we don't have enough of these very crucial components. So it's a story that we're going to continue to watch. I want to thank all of you for joining us on the discussion this evening and throwing light on what really is going on. When we say there's a chip shortage, well, it matters because come this festive season, that chip shortage may be the reason that you can't get the car of your choice in time, or that new laptop or that new mobile phone or that new gaming console in time.